Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. I know this probably looks insane. I made this is obviously not coffee. I made some iced honeydew green tea. It's so good. Highly recommend making some if you can. It's a great iced tea to have around in the summer. I absolutely love it because it's good for you as long as you don't put like sugar in it, and it tastes really good and I love it. I try to drink green tea every day, even though I also drink coffee every day. You know. So today's video is going to be the unpopular book opinions tag. I will have the original creator of this tag linked down below, but I personally saw Elliot Brooks do this tag with her husband. I thought it was really fun, so I just decided to go ahead and do it as well. So I feel like it's pretty straightforward. You don't really need a lot of explanation. Basically, there's just a list of questions about unpopular opinions, or what you consider to be unpopular opinions, I guess, and you just go through and answer them. So let's just get into it. Question number 1 is a popular book or series you did not like. I feel like I could give you a lot of answers to this question, but the one that stuck out to me was The Dark Artifices by Cassandra Clare. And the reason I'm saying those is because I feel like the Shadowhunters universe in general is very popular. And I don't love all of the Mortal Instruments either, but the reason I'm bringing up The Dark Artifices is I feel like there's a pretty strong following for that and that people really like those books. And those are probably my least favorite of the series. I was not a big fan of those. I really didn't get it, and I'm sorry, but I just did not like them. I like the Shadowhunter universe and some of the other characters maybe in the story, but like overall, it was just kind of meh. Sorry if that's like your favorite series, but I didn't like it. On the flip side of that, question number 2 is a popular book or series that everyone else hates but you love. And for me, I have 2 answers to this because one of them popped into my mind right away, but the other one, as I was thinking about it, kind of came up. And while it's very beloved to me, I don't think many people have either read it or like it. So that one is the Renegades trilogy by Marissa Meyer. I really love this series. It's an urban fantasy about like superheroes and people with superhuman abilities, but some of the abilities are very minimal and not like these big extravagant things. Some of them are, but a lot of the characters you see have more simple powers, but they can use them in really cool ways and really big ways. And you're following Nova, who is an anarchist, and basically there are the renegades and the anarchists. And the renegades are like the police, and they kind of control the political situation in society. Anarchists just want people to be free. It's really cool how the series deals with supernatural abilities and also how political power and wanting to be free and all of that, how it kind of ties together with good versus evil, but also how those lines are blurred a lot when you're trying to create freedom or create order. And I thought the series was really good. I really liked it. I did not love the ending, but that's just a personal opinion of like how I like books to end. I really, really like that series, and apparently nobody else does. And it makes me really sad because that was one of the reasons I got into reading Marissa Meyer, and I really love it so much. And I feel like I haven't talked about it on my channel a lot, but it's one of my favorite series. It was one of the things that kind of catapulted me into reading more. It wasn't necessarily the catalyst, but it was one of the reasons I started reading more. The other one that came to mind is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I've mentioned this on my channel before, but I feel like most people are not a big fan of that book or the series, but I really like it, and I think it's kind of quirky and dark and funny and just kind of sarcastic and brash, and I really appreciate it and I really like it, but apparently nobody else does. So there you go. So question number 3 is a love triangle where they ended up with a person you didn't like or an OTP you didn't like. So I know other people share this opinion, but I feel like everyone I say this to is like horrified. Elena Starkov in the Grisha trilogy. I was really mad, and that was kind of more than a love triangle. It was like a love square. But I really didn't like Mal. I really disliked him in the books. He's better in the show, but I really dislike Mal. I do not like him at all. I would have preferred her to be with the Darkling. I know, you can hate me, you can think whatever. I love the Darkling so very much. I wanted her to end up with the Darkling. I knew it was probably never going to happen, but I wanted it to happen. And if she didn't end up with the Darkling, I would have liked her to end up with Nikolai, because Nikolai is also a boss and a good guy, and I love him so much. Literally anyone else. She could have chosen anyone else in this scenario, and I would have been happy, but she didn't. Sorry if that spoils anything for you, but that's kind of a spoilery question. So I was not a fan of that. Justice for the Darkling. I feel like whenever I share opinions about characters that I love or books or things like this, people I wish they'd ended up with, people are just like, I know I'm twisted, okay? Just go about your business. Question number 4 is a popular book genre you hardly reach for. For me, I think I would have to say contemporary. Contemporary is something that I rarely read. I know I read The Hating Game, but I'm actually trying to rack my brain to see if other just contemporary novels I've read, not thrillers, not like things like that, but just contemporary fiction. I would say that's the one I reach for the least. Because I will read thrillers and books like that, or like quote unquote horror-y, scary, spooky books. Not horror, probably not, but like spooky books more than I will read contemporary because it's just not interesting to me. And I think the reason is because when I'm reading, I want to read fantasy, obviously, but a lot of it is because I don't want to read about my own world. I want to read something that's interesting and I want to escape, I guess. Escapism is probably what I do the most with reading. But I want to read about like dragons. I want to read about things that I have not experienced or cannot experience. So I feel like contemporary is probably least. I did really like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but that's because I like crime and like forensic stuff. So I feel like that goes in the thriller portion. So yeah, I feel like contemporary would be the best answer for this. I don't really love mystery, but again, I feel like I'm more willing to read mystery and thrillers than I am contemporary fiction or just like contemporary romance. It's just not my thing. Give me all the dragons and mythological creatures, superhuman abilities and magic. I like that stuff. So I guess contemporary. Question number 5 is a popular or beloved character you didn't really like. And I was trying to think of like beloved characters, and I can't really think of one off the top of my head. Maybe I will at the end of this question. But the one that immediately came to mind was Harry Potter. Because as a character, not the series, as a character. Because when you're reading the books, Harry sucks. He is the worst. He's so angsty and whiny and just like, everybody hates me. And is like cutting people out of his life from like minor inconveniences because he's so like, he has so much inner turmoil. And I just remember like Dumbledore helping him through so much, and Dumbledore's got his own issues, but I just remember Dumbledore helping him through so much, and then Harry just being like, I don't understand why he won't tell me everything even though I'm 13, or however old he was at the time. And I was just like, Harry, you're an idiot. That's why you do stupid stuff constantly. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like Harry. I much prefer Harry Potter in the movies than I do as the characters in the books. I think because in the movies, he's not coming off as horrible or as like a jerk as much as he is in the books. Like, my goodness, it's hard to read about him sometimes. But in the movies, he's a lot better. Much more of like a beloved character in that sense. But I was trying to think of some like probably cinnamon roll character that people probably love and I hate, and I couldn't think of one off the top of my head. I feel like I'm more in the vein of what's a character everyone else hated but you like? I feel like I have plenty of answers for that. Question number 6 is a popular author you just can't seem to get into. For me, this answer would definitely have to be Madeleine Miller. I have read Song of Achilles. I have read Circe, and decided after reading 2 of her books that that author is just not for me. I may trick myself into reading something else she writes in the future because I do believe she's writing a Persephone book at some point, but from what I've read of her so far, we just don't vibe. And there's nothing wrong with her as an author. I think that's why I like the way this question is phrased, is because I just can't seem to get into her writing. I just can't seem to get into her stories. I just can't seem to like it. Her writing is beautiful. Her stories are well crafted, but I just don't enjoy them. I just don't. I think I gave her, I don't remember what I rated Circe. I don't remember when I rated either of them actually, but I'm pretty sure they were low stars. And I could recognize that it was good writing. I could recognize that it was a good book in theory, but I just don't like her stories. So we just can't seem to get along. I can't seem to get into it. I know people really love her, but I just don't like it. I'm sorry, everyone. I know everybody loves her, but ugh. Question number 7 is a popular trope you're tired of seeing. A popular trope I'm tired of seeing is the resurrection trope. I don't know how popular it is in reality, but pretty much whenever people utilize the resurrection trope, it really gets under my skin. I really hate it. I'm really tired of being like, they're dead. No, they're not. This person died. Maybe they didn't. And feeling like when you're watching or reading something and you're like, oh, well, they're not really dead. They can't be dead because they're going to bring them back. I really don't like that. When they're dead, leave them there. Leave them in the grave, leave them in the ground, leave them dead. I don't want them coming back. I know that sounds kind of heartless, but it's just because why do we need to do this? If you're gonna kill off a character, commit to it. Kill them off. Break everyone's hearts, shatter their emotions. Don't toy with people. I don't like it. I don't like it. I've mentioned this before in another tag that there's only a couple of resurrection tropes that I appreciate, but like most of the time, stop. Jesus did the trope as best as anyone can. Everyone else just needs to let it go. Thank you for coming to my rant. Question number 8 is a popular book series you have no interest in reading. I have 2 answers for this because one of them is more just for reasons I'll explain, and one of them is no interest, 0. So the first one would be Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I really, really enjoy the Wheel of Time TV show. But the reason I don't have any interest in reading Wheel of Time is because of how freaking long the series is. I just can't. Thinking about starting that series and knowing how many books there are immediately upsets me. It gives me like heart palpitations. Like I just can't imagine having to read that many books to get through the series. And that's pretty much the only reason I don't want to read it, is because once there's a certain number of books in a series, I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever read you because you're too long. I may be interested in the story, but if you hit past like the 10 book mark, I'm like, we're done. I can't do this. It's a lot. And they're big books. I don't know. I just can't do it. We have the first one. I may convince myself to read the first one, but I feel like my interest will immediately die after that. There's just too many. There's just way too many. I will watch the TV show and I will treasure it, and that'll be it for me. I'm so sorry. I know you guys probably think I'm a horrible person and a hack and are probably cursing me because of your beloved Robert Jordan, and it's nothing against you. I just don't like giant books in a 20-book series. I can't do it. I don't want to. We'll see if I change my mind later, but I don't want to. The other one that I truly have no interest in reading is Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I feel like I'm not going to be able to talk about this very much, but I get really odd, bad vibes from him. I don't really like him as a person, and I don't want you to like come at me with this because we could argue about it. I could give you reasons, you could give me reasons, but that's not the point. And it's like, you can not like an author and still like their works. That's totally fine. But I just think that if I was reading his books, it would upset me. And there's like things about how he writes women and just a lot of like unnecessary sexual scenes or rape or things that are described in it. I think it would just really bother me. And so that's a me thing. I just don't see a need for it. I watched part of the show and then we got to a part that just kind of made me feel sick, and I just don't have any interest. The only interest I have is with Daenerys Targaryen and the dragons, and then once they go away from her, my interest goes away. So I will never read them. I don't want to. I may finish the show, but I will never read his books. And maybe it's a good thing because he's probably never going to finish the series anyway. And I'm sorry for all of you that really love those books or that you're waiting for them to be finished. I really am. That sucks. But please enjoy them. Separate from me. I want nothing to do with it. My dog's chasing a fly. It's really funny. Question 9 is an adaptation you prefer over the book. Now, I would say Wheel of Time, but I haven't read Wheel of Time. So I can't say that. There's actually a couple that I feel like I would like the adaptations more, but I haven't read the book, or vice versa. I've read the book, but there hasn't been an adaptation yet. So I feel like there's only a couple that I could truly speak on, and that would be The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I love the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings movies are amazing. I've read The Fellowship of the Ring. I haven't read the rest of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I really liked it. I loved it a lot. However, Do we really need all that stuff with Tom Bombadil? I don't think so. Were our lives made better that he was cut out of the movie? Absolutely. I know that's probably a hot take and people are probably real mad at me. Listen, Tom Bombadil, that whole thing really got under my skin. It really annoyed me because you're gonna tell me that there's this like immortal guy that cares so little about the rest of Middle Earth and humanity and all of the other races in this world on Middle Earth, that he's just gonna let Frodo do this thing and he's not gonna help. He's gonna be like, oh, the ring doesn't mean anything to me. I would throw it away on accident. Your empathy and compassion and just like concept of reality of Middle Earth is so low that you would just let everyone else die because you don't care. I just can't. It makes me so mad. So I really don't like him. And that whole point of the book was like pointless to me. So I do prefer the Fellowship of the Ring movie. I think the rest of the book, taking out Tom Bombadil and all that nonsense, is still really good, and it brings a lot to the table that the movie doesn't. Especially a lot of dialogue that Gandalf says, which is awesome. He's got so much sass, and I appreciate him so much. But I would say if I had to pick one, it would be the Fellowship of the Ring. The movie's fantastic. I love seeing the ring wraiths on the screen. Just did a fantastic job with those movies, even though they're a little bit older at this point now. Just really, really, really good. So that's all of the unpopular questions, but the next question would just be tags. If you're going to tag anyone and they do not know I'm going to do this, and I will tag them, and if you guys want to do it, go ahead. If you do not, totally fine, because I didn't prepare you for this at all. But I'm going to go ahead and tag the Bookshelf Scout and Book Dragon Aaron. If you guys want to do this tag, I would love to see your answers to this. If you don't want to, totally fine, no pressure. I think these are fun. Hopefully you do as well. Yeah, everyone, that is it for today's video. I'm sure several of you are mad at me. I'm sorry, not sorry. But no, that's the beauty of reading. We can all have a lot of different tastes and different opinions, and it's what makes authors be able to write all of these amazing stories, because some people like them and some people don't. And I love being able to debate these things and see other people's opinions. I just think it's one of the cool parts about the book community. Also, please don't tell my friend Christy what I said about Fellowship of the Ring. She'll be so mad. She would be so upset that I said that. All right, everyone. Well, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please tell me some of your unpopular opinions in the comments. I would love to hear them. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.